What's up, everyone? We are live at 5. I rolled in. It's Tuesday, August 4th. I'm Paul Wontorek.
I'm Beth Stevens.
And we are joined, as usual, by Caitlin Moynihan.
Hello.
And her hands.
I'm talking
Hello.
I'm talking a little slower today. I'm milking it because we don't have a guest. We were supposed to have a fantastic, someone so good.
We're not telling.
Onyx, so loved. We're not going to tell you who, but we were really excited to have them. But you know what? I mean, normally on Tuesdays we've been doing these great Michael James Scott round. He took this Tuesday off.
Well-deserved break.
He deserves a week off because
absolutely.
He's been doing an amazing job. We're in the middle of what is this? A hurricane? What is this? A tropical storm? What's happening, Beth?
It's blue skies in New York now, but it was very rainy before. But yes, there is a hurricane.
But it's supposed to get
on
windy.
The coast.
It's going to still get windy. Now,
it's windy.
What's the name of this storm?
Isaias?
I haven't
whatever Caitlin says.
I haven't said it out loud. I just read it in articles.
I know. It doesn't look like a word I've seen before, but I think it's Isaias.
Okay, cool. Right. So my Wi-Fi has been going in and out. Actually, I'm running off a generator right now. Fun fact. Yeah. So yeah, it's a crazy day. So we thought, let's just go live anyway, and we'll talk, and we'll have some news to report, and we have a today in Broadway, and then we'll see if you guys have anything you want to talk about. And I don't know, we're here. We're gonna make the most of it. It's a Tuesday in August. Let's do some news.
So we have a postponement for Broadway. What are you drinking, Paul?
Decaf coffee. It's a new thing. I drink decaf coffee now in the early evening.
Anyway, back to my news story. So Sing Street is now set. First of all, they're postponing their Broadway bout. We knew that everything is postponed, and we don't know when things are coming back. Okay, but they are now saying they will open. That's good news because it means they're still on board to open in winter, get this, of 2021 or 2022. So I guess Sing Street is feeling like we all are a little uncertain about the future, but they vow to come back, which is the good news. And at a Schubert Theater to be announced, it was supposed to be at the Lyceum in March with an opening on April 19th. That, as we know, didn't happen. But as far as we know, the cast is still going to reprise their performances on Broadway, and we just don't know what year. We're embracing uncertainty right now. That's what we're doing. We have no choice.
Right. So I want to tell everyone that's bad news, but it'll be back. But I want to tell everyone, and I put a little ticker on. If you have any questions for us, we're going to take questions. So I want to throw that ticker up there. Also, in cancellation news, we've been having a lot of sort of good news moments, but today we do have some bummer news. The Radio City Christmas Spectacular, which is a show from my childhood, big deal throughout my childhood. And I've started going recently. I've gone the last 2 years, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not going this year. I'm going to have to call my cousin Heidi and tell her that we're not taking the kids to the Radio City Christmas Spectacular because it's been canceled for the year. This is the first time since 1933. And of course, you immediately think like, wow, that means during wars and, 9/11. And this is the first time they've actually had to cancel it because of the coronavirus. And it was supposed to run, who cares? It's not happening. But it always runs November through January, and it's packed throughout Midtown. And it's just, we're taking a year off. And so
all those Rockettes, can you believe it?
I know. So a lot of people are out of work, and that's a bummer. But they'll be back, and I'll be back. And if you bought tickets to the Radio City Christmas Spectacular through Broadway.com, you can get a refund. So reach out to our box office. But that's the news from Radio City.
So we're gonna pivot to some good news because Anthony Ramos is a hot commodity now in Hollywood, and we're all breathlessly awaiting the In the Heights movie. That's next June, and now he has another gig with Naomi Scott, who was in the Aladdin live-action film as Princess Jasmine, and they're doing a sci-fi film called Distant. Weirdly, it's directed by a friend of mine. There he is, Anthony Ramos. So Naomi Scott is replacing Rachel Brosnahan, who was supposed to be in it. There's Naomi Scott, but she's got the marvelous Mrs. Maisel, so she has some scheduling conflicts. So So what? We've got great casting here. This is directed by Blades of Glory's Josh Gordon, who I went to college with, and Will Speck, and written by Spencer Cohen. It follows an asteroid miner who, after crash landing on an alien planet, must make his way across the harsh terrain to the only other survivor. So sci-fi romance. Not a bad genre mixture there. And of course, we all know Anthony Ramos from Hamilton and other things. And there you have it.
Awesome. So this past weekend, Broadway Bears went virtual, like everything does, and they called it Zoom In. And we found out today that the event raised just under $600,000, which is amazing. $596,504. Congratulations to Jerry Mitchell and everyone over at Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. Of course, Jerry Mitchell started this thing back when he was a chorus boy in the Will Rogers Follies, got up on a bar and splashed with a bunch of other guys. People came, gave their money for BCEFA, and it's gone on every year. And, last year they made $2 million at the live event, but to make $600,000, with people at home without, the smelling the dancers in front of you at an event, it's very different. Beth is like, what are you talking about? Anyway.
Smelling the dancers.
It's like different. Seeing a stripper live versus seeing a stripper on video, it's different. Anyway. Yeah. But
it's probably better to zoom in. Yeah, there you go.
Zoom in, even if you can zoom in. So you can still watch it online, by the way. And there were some amazing stars, including Nathan Lane, Judith Light, Beth Level, Leslie Margarita. Anyway, more. And so check that out. And congratulations to everyone.
And you can still donate.
Yeah, of course. It's just the latest fantastic event.
That's right. So
go ahead.
This is also some good news. So Samantha Williams, who we all know and love from Dear Evan Hansen, there she is. And she was supposed to star in the upcoming Caroline or Change in the Tony-winning role of Emmy, hosted a free screening at her high school, the Kinder High School for the Performing Arts. And they had a production of Fela. Wonderful. Fela. On August 8th at 6:30 p.m. And you can check on Broadway.com to see how you can see that. And they celebrated with the original producer, Stephen Hendel, and there's Sar in the original production. And he's actually part of a conversation that they're having with, they're having a discussion with some of the actors and Sar, who is the original star, and the director. And it's just, you know what? It's good to give back to your own school, especially when they're doing a show like that with so many performers in it. I think there were 34 performers in the show.
Yeah.
But also I love that this article said what Samantha played in high school. She was in Dreamgirls and The Wiz.
Oh, fun facts.
Just keeping that in mind for future productions.
A lot of the kids know Sar from Moulin Rouge.
Right.
He's Toulouse-Lautrec. But Fela was a huge, Beth and I remember, a huge moment for him.
It was off-Broadway. He won an Obie Award, and then it transferred to Broadway, and it was delicious. Lilias White joined the production. It was just really moving, and you had to get on your feet. You had no choice.
Yeah. So before we get to not having a guest, I wanted to continue our little history lessons with a little Today in Broadway moment. Okay, so Beth, we're going to talk today. Again, this isn't really Broadway, but it's Broadway adjacent. Sometimes, Broadway.com doesn't just talk about Broadway. We talk about Broadway.
Theater.
Yeah. So what I want to talk about today is a little show called Harlem Song. And I know that Beth remembers this moment just like I did. So Harlem Song this is sad. So this Harlem Song opened in 2002. At the Apollo Theater on West 125th Street. And, there's a certain, people don't really realize this, but there's a certain capsule of time where there's very little documentation of things. I desperately was looking for a video clip. We were there opening night.
We were.
But
there was a big party at Riverside Church.
There's the only video I could even find anywhere on the internet about Harlem Song was a video of the cast dancing on one of the morning shows, but it was someone filmed it off their TV with their anyway, my point is that in the pre-digital internet age, obviously we were internet, but we didn't have a good archive of our videos at the time. There's not even photos online. So Harlem Song really only lives in my mind and Beth's mind. And
that's it. That's the only place it lives.
And in the, God, somewhere I would love to live, in the mind of George C. Wolfe.
There you go.
Because George C. Wolfe is the genius who gave birth to Harlem Song. And let me just give everyone a quick history lesson in Harlem Song. So this producer named John Schreiber, actually, he was the lead producer of this musical, and he had produced Elaine Stritch at Liberty, which George C. Wolfe directed. It was right before, and so in the summer of 2002, the Apollo Theater had just undergone a huge multi-million-dollar renovation, and they were trying to get people up to the Apollo Theater. Just recently, when the Black Lives Matter movement came to the forefront just a month or two ago, we talked about the Apollo Theater. People were like, why isn't the Apollo Theater a Broadway house? Because it is obviously a historic, beautiful theater. It's the same size as a Broadway house, but it's nowhere near the Broadway neighborhood. But they wanted to create an event that could bring tourists up to Harlem to enjoy and make an event up there. So it was a 90-minute musical review telling the story of the
Harlem Renaissance.
Yeah, exactly. And the movement to Harlem and all the history of Harlem and the amazing people that came out of Harlem. And George C. Wolfe wrote it and directed it. It was choreographed by Ken Roberson, who did Avenue Q, right? Didn't Ken do? Yeah. And Zane Mark and Daryl Waters did the music and the arrangements, and they are fantastic. This is sort of like George Wolfe's team, the A team. It starred, here are some names: David St. Louis, who was in Sideshow, the Sideshow Revival. Queen Esther, remember how fantastic she was in it?
Yes.
Rosa Curry, and somebody Beth knows, BJ Crosby.
Who passed away, unfortunately, but she had such a big voice person from Smokey Joe's Cafe.
Right, and she was one of the original cast members of Smokey Joe's Cafe. Was she in it the entire run?
Yeah.
I mean, she was in it.
They all were. Most of them were.
And George Wolfe, of course, was just coming off The Wild Party, Elaine Stritch at Liberty. Bringing the Noise, Bringing the Funk was a huge hit. Johnny's Last Jam was a huge hit. And obviously, he's had a lot of hits.
And he was the artistic director of the Public Theater at the time, was he not?
He was at that time. But he also really became famous off-Broadway for his plays like Spunk and The Colored Museum. And so...
as a writer, yeah.
Right. And Harlem Song was really kind of like a review. It was sort of noise funk in its structure, but it wasn't so dance driven. Right. It was really like, what are your memories of it, Beth? I remember
I remember there was a party at Riverside Church, which was really, I don't know if it was a press event or it was a party afterward, but I remember the feeling of just being uptown. All of the events for the show were uptown. It really was to revitalize the neighborhood, and just talking to George Wolfe, who was so passionate and talks a mile a minute.
Always.
You just always. And just being so moved by it. And also being at the Apollo Theater is always an event, even before the renovation. But after, it just felt so special.
Yeah.
And so old-fashioned in a good way.
Yeah.
And I think there is a cast album, isn't there?
There is a cast album, and you can listen to it on YouTube. And it did, so it opened 18 years ago today. It was supposed to run through December 31st, a limited run. It did not make it. It actually, in November, I think they announced it was closing, and then they actually announced it was closing, and then they had a surge in ticket sales. And so it lasted a few extra weeks, but it did not end up making it. And I thought it was, and they did a production of Dreamgirls then at the Apollo years later, which was another, before it went on the road, which is another sort of Broadway-ish event. There's been a sort of a regular movement to do things at the Apollo.
And there was just announced that they were going to do Blue up there, which is now postponed because of the pandemic.
Right, and I felt like, it's one of those, it was such a great effort for our city and for the neighborhood and for the community. And I thought it would be an important thing to sort of shine a spotlight on. I wish I had photos or video. There's no
problem. There's got to be somewhere. We got to dig deeper. We'll have to go back.
Beth is better at Google than I am. Anyway, so yeah, Harlem Song. That was today in Broadway. Okay. Now what? Hey, Caitlin, are you still with us?
Hello.
Hi. How you doing?
I was learning about that. That was great to know.
About Harlem Song?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I try to come up with little nuggets that are really maybe not talked about as much as some obvious things. So, but yeah, that was definitely an interesting one. And what an interesting idea also to make like a theater event a tourist attraction. I mean, obviously Broadway is a tourist attraction, but something that was actually educating people and entertaining people and fantastic music. And so anyway, that was Harlem Song. Well, I'm looking at some of these comments.
We're getting some questions both on Facebook, YouTube, and I have some from
Yeah, you could. Why don't you ask us something? I'm just going to take a sip of my.
Oh my gosh!
Bring it on, yeah.
All right, we're going to bring it on. The most common question so far, I think, both Ryan and Christina want to know, how have we been getting our Broadway fix these days? Now that
good question. That's a good question.
Well, talking about it, obviously, actually, there is a certain. I have a lot of friends in jobs that no job has just the regular rhythm that it has. I mean, I guess some jobs do, but most jobs don't have the same rhythm that we're used to. And I talked to a lot of friends who I feel like can get extremely removed from their old life. And the truth is, doing live at 5, no matter how I feel every day, it's like, let's do this. Let's have a Broadway moment. So that's one way, but also like obviously having guests in, looking at, like, I was just digging into Harlem Song and sort of, doing that stuff, and really thinking about what our fans want, the Broadway fans want to pay attention to right now. It's an interesting challenge because normally we could just do our jobs by talking about whatever's happening, and we kind of have to be a little more creative. How about you, Beth? Are you getting your Broadway?
Well, as you all know, my 10-year-old daughter is Broadway obsessed. And so I've been slowly introducing her to different things. And she got to see the PBS version of Sunday in the Park with George with Bernadette Peters and Mandy Patinkin. And I'm getting to sort of see that with fresh eyes as I educate her and introduce her to different shows that I loved. So that's one way. And also, I don't watch a lot of television or movies. I just don't have the time. But I do listen to a lot of audiobooks as I walk around the city or take care of my kids or wash the dishes or whatever. And this is something I do that always cheers me up. There's a collection of Dorothy Parker short stories read by Elaine Stritch. Sometimes there are a lot of Broadway people that do these audiobooks. If you have a chance, it only came out a couple of years ago, and of course Stritch hasn't been with us for a while. There's no better match for that kind of wise and witty Dorothy Parkerisms than Elaine Stritch. So whenever I'm feeling blue, I stick Elaine in my ears and have her just, give me the short stories from Dorothy Parker. It's amazing.
Beth, do you remember that movie? It's kind of got lost, that Mrs. Parker and the Circle.
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
I was obsessed with that movie when it first
I know you were.
You remember that?
Yes.
But yeah, like anyone who doesn't know Dorothy Parker, but I was just looking it up because, it was directed by Alan Rudolph. But Matthew Broderick was in it. And a lot of theater people, Peter Gallagher and Martha Plimpton and Gwyneth.
Yeah, a lot of theater people.
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called
Mrs. Parker and the Vicious Circle.
Now, it's all about the Algonquin Round Table. And Kaufman and Hart are characters in it. But I'm pretty sure it's not online. I don't think you can watch it.
Oh. Well, and then in that case, just go ahead to Audible or to the library and find Parker Selected Stories read for you by Elaine Stritch.
Oh, wait, you can watch it, but you have to rent it. It's $1.99 on Amazon Prime.
It's worth the $1.99.
I think it's worth it. Anyway. Caitlin, how are you getting your Broadway fix?
Okay, real talk. In the beginning, I feel like I kind of was like your friends, Paul. Like, I was so like, we're going to be back so soon. Like, I don't want to watch theater on my screen, like in whatever format. But eventually one day was like, you know what? I just missed like a really good overture. So I watched Carousel live from Lincoln Center and just like cried. And I was like, I didn't realize how much I missed it. So I feel like I've been really good since then. Just, there's been so much free stuff online, like either things that were recorded for one purpose that they're now allowing us to view, or, you know, can buy tickets to, and so many readings that I feel like in the beginning I just wasn't like doing, because I felt like, I don't know, it just felt weird. I was like, nah, we'll be back. But now that it's going to be quite some time, I feel like I'm just looking and seeing like what other, like, especially shows that I never got to see, like in real life. So seeing what opportunities I can take, like especially London, the Old Vic, their program that they're doing, like Lungs with Claire Foy and Matt Smith, and that was gorgeous. So trying to take advantage instead of letting it all go by. But
I have to share this comment because I'm so jealous of Lori Brown Yang, because look at this. She says, wonderful memories of Harlem Song. George Wolf was one of my professors at Performing Arts City College, and I was lucky to have worked backstage on that production. A magical time in my life. See, sometimes
hey, Lori.
on her photo. Sometimes you just pull something out and there's people, and then I love this too. Ellen Smasson, Lady BJ Crosby was from New Orleans, and a treasure. I always knew her by her real name, Joanne.
I knew BJ forever, and I never knew her real name. So what do I know?
I love that. It's great.
Well, I'm jealous of all these people.
Anything else you want to pull up, Caitlin?
Yeah, we got some other questions. I like this one. I think the three of us have talked about this between ourselves, but Julianne wants to know, when Broadway opens up, what's the first show you want to go see?
It has to be one that's actually running, right?
Planning on.
It's hard to say what will be open. I mean, I'm really sad that I didn't get to see the revival of Company here on Broadway. I saw it in London, which was fantastic. Yeah. But I was really looking forward to that, over the spring, and we didn't get a chance to see it.
Company is going to be a great New York moment.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be.
But honestly, I'm going to walk into the nearest theater and be delighted.
Yep.
Whatever it is, even if it's something I've seen before.
100%.
I love my Moulin Rouge. So
of course. There you go. Yeah.
That's my moment at the Moulin Rouge.
That's very you, and that's very me. What about you, Caitlin?
Live my best life, as the kids say.
I know. I feel like I would want it to be something like Moulin Rouge, or like a Hamilton, or a Proud, like something where I can just like be up on my feet and cheering, and it be like acceptable by everyone. You know, I just want to like, I mean, again, you could walk into anything, and I feel like the vibe is just going to be so
electric.
But I just want to be able to like openly weep and like cheer without judgment at whatever.
I will say this also, as you know, my Broadway obsessed daughter has made me promise her that I will take her back to see Six. And she checks in with me every 2 or 3 weeks to say, you promised, right? I'm like, yes, we will see Six again. She did see, we saw it the week before the shutdown. I
want to share this because I have an answer. Lee Pugsley, which I don't know if that's a real name or not. What's your favorite Broadway overture? Do you have one, Beth?
Let me think for a second. There are a lot that I like, but you go ahead. I know you're going to say something. You've got something up your sleeve.
Wait, what?
What is up? What you have something in mind? No.
Oh, you don't. You don't have anything, Beth?
There are a lot. I don't have like a. What is it?
I'm getting it ready.
Oh.
I'll tell you my backup. My backup one would be the Full Monty.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
This is my number one. Oh, it's playing an ad first. Not good. Here it is. Ready? And. Merrily Roll Along. The best.
That's a really good choice. Really good choice.
Like best cast album, the original cast album. Amazing.
Wow.
Anyway, I just had to. I had to hear it.
Yeah.
Do you have one, Caitlin?
My first one is the one that comes to mind is Ragtime. I just love it. I love
That's a good one.
Everything from Ragtime, but how it just has like everything, and it's just.
I mean, the first thing that came to mind for me was West Side Story. But I think it's because it's one of the first shows I saw where I really even knew what an overture was, and it's so sweeping. But that Merrily We Roll Along, I don't know. That's really up my alley.
That's great.
Oh. Oh wait, that was I accidentally clicked on that, but like we're not actors, Ryan.
No.
What show do we want to star in? We don't ever want to star in a show.
No, nothing.
No, absolutely not.
It's terrifying.
Although Paul has made his
Paul
Broadway debut,
did.
Caitlin and I have not yet.
Terrifying.
And never
on Broadway before.
That is on YouTube though, but it was terrifying. It was terrifying.
I was in the audience.
Do you have any other questions you want to pull up, Caitlin?
Let me see. There's quite a few. Ooh, someone said Fiddler has their favorite.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah. Ooh, okay, this is good. Jane wants to know, how did y'all, thank you for saying y'all, I appreciate it. How did y'all get into the industry? What did you study? How did you get started, etc.?
Why don't you go first, Caitlin? I feel like Paul and I have answered this in the past.
I got my degree in mass communication with a specific track in journalism and new media. And then I graduated in 2017, college. And then I moved to New York for my first job. I was a writer for Clever. I had a lot of internships in college, which is where you get all of your experience, I think. Right. Like I was able to try so many different things. I worked at magazines and newspapers and like event planning and things like that. And I learned what I liked, what I was good at, because sometimes those are different. You can like something but not be good at it. Or things that I was good at that I hated. So then I was able to move and I ended up getting a full-time job from my internship, my first full-time job. And then that's how I started. I started our Broadway vertical at my old job. And then I saw Broadway.com was hiring.
You were writing about more mainstream entertainment, but you were doing a lot of focused things.
Yeah, I was at Teen Vogue and Girls Life magazine and Clever before. So I was writing a lot about, a lot of Kardashians, a lot of Harry Styles, which I was fine with and I enjoyed. But I was wondering if there was something more I could be doing. And Broadway is definitely more and gives you that like community vibe. And I personally feel a lot better writing about things that I know people really like care about. So then they hired me. So thank you 2 years ago. So that's me, short and easy.
Go ahead, Beth.
Oh God, it's all such a long story, you guys.
Short version.
I'll give you the shortest version. I studied playwriting in college. I actually went to graduate school for playwriting. And then I worked a lot of odd jobs as I wrote my plays and had them produced downtown. And I bumped into a friend of mine who said, you should be a Broadway publicist. You can see shows for free. So I did that. I didn't really enjoy it, but I really liked to see the other side of it, of all the journalists that I was introducing the talent to. And so I started writing and pitching little magazines, Backstage, Show Business Weekly, stuff like that, Time Out New York. And I was tapped, really. Someone called me and asked me if I wanted to join Broadway.com. It had not launched yet. And on my first day, I met Paul Wontorek. And the rest is history. That's my short version.
That was 20 years and like 6 months ago.
Crazy.
So I moved to New York for college 30 years ago in August, 30 years ago this month. And what?
Happy New York anniversary.
We're almost there.
We have the same New York anniversary, but mine's 1 year before.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So, and I wanted to write about Broadway. And I went to Fordham and Lincoln Center, and I immediately started interning at this magazine called Theater Week and writing for them. And great opportunity. I got a lot of opportunity to interview Debbie Gibson. I've talked about that before. And then Entertainment Weekly. I started writing for Entertainment Weekly, and then I started writing for this magazine called In Theater. And then I just knew I wanted to do this. And Broadway, Kathy Henderson, the editor in Theater Magazine, she actually brought me in for an interview to work at Broadway.com before it launched. And she also talked to Beth separately. So we didn't know each other. Kathy brought me together. That was it. I never wanted to be an actor. I just wanted to write about it. So I never wanted to be on camera. Neither did Beth.
Nope.
Raise my hand. I have a question for you.
Caitlin.
Thank you.
I'm doing my teacher voice. There you go.
Wait, Paul, didn't you have like a magazine or something? I remember seeing something.
I made my own magazine called Upstage.
And like Nina was on the cover or something?
I was who was?
Who was on the cover? I remember
There
Bygone.
were many people on the covers.
A lot of people. Betty Buckley was my first.
Okay, I just remember seeing something on Bygone Broadway, and I was like, "Wait, what?" And I was so confused.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. But I just noticed in my questions that Dennis Martin said, I miss you guys. And Dennis Martin, Beth and I have been working with Dennis Martin for a very long time. So, hi, Dennis. How are you?
Hi, Dennis. We miss you too.
Good to see your face pop up. You know, it's so weird to be removed from all of our coworkers. I just saw two of my good friends this weekend. It was the first like physical seeing someone in person in so long, and it's different. It's different. So I don't know. It's gonna be weird when we're all sitting in a conference room together again.
I can't wait, but it's going to be really weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. There are some other questions, but aren't we kind of running over now?
Yeah.
Let's see. Wait, what's this? I want to see if any performer had ever won a Tony for the original production, even though the original cast had already left the production. What? If any performer
Tony trivia.
Wait,
Tony Shalhoub.
ever won a Tony for original production, even though the original cast had already left the production.
Like Tony Shalhoub.
Like the replacements were already there. Tony Shalhoub did.
Tony Shalhoub is the first one most recent one to me.
Wait, who?
That's true.
Tony Shalhoub. Like he was already out of Band's Visit when he won the Tony.
Oh, is that what the question means?
Yeah, I think that's.
I mean, that's how I'm interpreting.
No, and it isn't always that the original cast is left, but sometimes the show is closed as well. So there's a lot of Tony trivia.
There was also an effort about 15 years ago to start a replacement Tony. Everywhere. They announced it. They actually submitted certain names to be eligible for it, and then they ended up just like scrapping it.
But Broadway.com's Audience Choice Awards has always had a replacement category. Just saying.
True. And here's another one. If you could interview any Broadway star from the past, who would it be?
Oh my goodness. Any Broadway star from the past?
I would see some Broadway stars.
Some performances?
Yeah.
You know, the first thing that pops into my head, though, is Ethel Merman. And that's only because when I was a kid, if you said Broadway star, I just thought Ethel Merman. That was like the only Broadway star I thought of. That and maybe Carol Channing, who I did get to interview. So
I can't even imagine like what it would be like sitting with some of those people, because we don't have much of a, I mean, they're on TV sometimes, but you don't have much of an idea what they're like, you know what I mean? Because you didn't see a lot of interviews. I would say, but I'll say David Carroll, because he was in the original cast of Hotel, and I was in love with him. He died of AIDS, and it's a really sad story. Try to bring down the room. Brian, okay, Rose, thank you. I'm gonna throw this up just for our ego.
I love that people are still checking in with us. I mean, this means so much to all of us.
Chile, what's up, Chile? Yeah, anyway, thank you all. There's a lot of questions, but thank you for humoring us.
Yes.
Well, we lost our fantastic guest. You'll never know. Hopefully they'll be back again soon.
Hopefully they'll come back.
And we don't look in this world. It's okay if you can't do what you have to do on a certain day. It's all good.
Yeah,
we get it. We totally get it. Okay, so that's it. Caitlin, why don't you take us out?
Yeah.
And we prepared a clip for something else tied to today's date, but just a fun moment for fans of musicals. So
I love it.
Thank you all for watching. And Caitlin, take us out.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in for our very fun. Oh, Beth's back. Okay, there she is. Bye, Beth. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for a very fun episode of Live at 5 Home Edition. You can listen along with us wherever you get your podcast by searching for hashtag Live at 5 and hitting that subscribe button. Tune in tomorrow when we have an awesome guest. Guys, we have Jackie Burns with us tomorrow talking all about A Killer Party, a murder mystery musical that you guys have been hearing all about. Now, taking us out is iconic Cheetah Rivera, Liza Minnelli singing The Apple Doesn't Fall Very Far from the Tree from the rink that closed on this date many years ago.
I know I shouldn't say this. Be my guest. are not so very different. I'm real depressed. Well, just move further, keep back. Let's go lovey tea. You open a pea pod, and guess what? A pea